Coffee has always been my anchor. That warm, familiar taste that starts my day, grounds me in the chaos of life. But what if that anchor started to drift? What if every sip took something from you, something precious? I'm sharing this story because I've learned something vital, something I can't keep to myself. It's about how fragile our grasp on reality is, how easily we can lose ourselves without even noticing. This is my journey, a cautionary tale, and maybe a whisper of wisdom for you. Stick with me. There's more beneath the surface than you might expect. It was a Tuesday morning when it all began. I remember because Tuesdays were always my least favorite day, stuck in the middle of the week, neither here nor there. But that day, something shifted, though I didn't know it at the time. I was just craving my usual fix, so I headed to the Daily Grind, a little coffee shop I'd been visiting for years. It's one of those places that feels like a step back in time. Creaky wooden floors, walls lined with dusty bookshelves, and the rich, earthy scent of roasted beans hanging in the air. It was my sanctuary, a ritual I leaned on to make sense of the world. Mr. Eldritch was behind the counter, same as always. He's an older guy, silver hair, deep lines etched into his face, and eyes that seem to see right through you. He doesn't talk much, but there's a quiet weight to him, like he's carrying stories he'll never tell. "Morning, Alex," he said with a nod. "The usual?" "Yes, please," I replied, sliding my loyalty card across the counter. He brewed my coffee, a medium roast with a splash of milk, and handed it over in a chipped ceramic mug. I took a sip, expecting that familiar warmth to settle into my bones. Instead, my tongue recoiled. The coffee was bitter, sharp, almost metallic, like I'd licked a rusty spoon. I made a face. "Is something wrong?" Mr. Eldritch asked, tilting his head. "It tastes different today," I said, swirling the liquid in the mug. "More bitter than usual." He smiled, but it wasn't comforting. It was the kind of smile that made you wonder what he knew that you didn't. "Coffee's like life, Alex," he said softly. "It changes with every brew. Maybe it's reflecting something within you." I laughed it off, figuring he was just being his usual cryptic self. "Guess I need to sweeten my outlook, huh?" "Perhaps," he replied, turning back to polish the espresso machine. I finished the coffee despite the taste, chalking it up to a bad batch. By the time I got to my office, the empty mug was forgotten in my car's cup holder. Work dragged on, and it wasn't until a meeting that afternoon that I noticed something strange. My colleague Sarah leaned over and said, "Hey, Alex, that story you told at the team dinner last week was hilarious. You should have seen Mike's face." I blinked. "Team dinner?"
She frowned.
"Yeah, last Friday. You were there. Don't tell me you forgot already." I checked my calendar later. Sure enough, team dinner was marked for Friday night. I even had photos on my phone. Me grinning next to coworkers, plates of pasta and garlic bread scattered across the table. But the memory?
Gone.
It was like staring at a picture of someone else's life. I told myself it was stress. Work had been brutal lately, but a tiny knot of unease tightened in my chest. The next day, I was back at the Daily Grind. Routine's a hard habit to break. This time, the coffee hit me with an overwhelming sweetness, like someone had poured syrup into it. I raised an eyebrow at Mr. Eldritch. "Did you change the recipe?" He shrugged, wiping down the counter. "Maybe your taste buds are evolving." That night, I couldn't remember my mom's birthday. I knew it was in June, but the date slipped through my fingers like sand. I called my sister in a panic. "June 15th, she said, laughing. "How do you forget that, Alex?" I didn't laugh back. The knot in my chest grew. By the end of the week, it was undeniable. Every cup tasted different. Spicy one day, bland the next, sour the day after that, and with each one, I lost something. First, it was small stuff, where I parked my car, what I ate for breakfast. Then it got bigger. I forgot a coworker's name mid-conversation. I blanked on my high school graduation, cap, gown, the whole thing just gone. I started scribbling notes in a journal, trying to hold onto what was slipping away. One entry read, "Coffee tasted like cinnamon." Forgot my first grade teacher's name, Mrs. Harper, I think. Another, "Coffee was watery. Can't remember driving home yesterday." It was terrifying, Watching pieces of myself vanish like that. I mean, who are we without our memories? They're the threads that stitch us together, right? And mine were unraveling, one sip at a time. I've been sharing bits of this on my YouTube channel lately, trying to make sense of it. The channel's been growing fast. People seem drawn to these weird, personal stories. If you're listening and this hooks you, consider subscribing. I've got a feeling there's more to uncover, and I'd love for you to stick around for it. Anyway, I couldn't let it go on without answers. I marched back to the daily grind one morning after a cup that tasted like burnt toast. That day, I'd forgotten my childhood home's address, 123 Maple Street, a place I'd lived for 18 years. Is there something wrong with the coffee? I demanded, slamming my mug down harder than I meant to. Mr. Eldritch looked up, those piercing eyes locking onto mine. The coffee's as it should be, Alex. Maybe it's you who's changing. That's not an answer. I snapped. I'm losing my memories, and it started when your coffee started tasting weird. What's going on? He leaned on the counter, his voice low. Memories are tricky. Sometimes we cling to them too hard, and they weigh us down. Maybe this is a chance to let go, to live right here, right now. Let go. I stared at him, incredulous. These aren't just random thoughts. They're my life. I can't forget who I am. He smiled again, sadder this time. Forgetting can be a gift, but if it bothers you that much, maybe stop drinking the coffee. I wanted to scream that it wasn't that simple. By then, I craved it, the ritual, the warmth, even the fear. And stopping didn't feel like an option anymore. I stormed out, the bell above the door jangling behind me. The next day, I tested it. No coffee, just tea from home. But when I tried to recall my best friend's phone number, it was gone. I had to dig through old texts to find it. The loss was still happening, coffee or not. That's when the fear really sank in. This wasn't just about a drink. Something deeper was at play, something I couldn't escape. I went back to Mr. Eldritch, my voice trembling. It's not stopping. I skipped the coffee today, and I still forgot something. For the first time, he looked worried. That's unusual, he said slowly. Maybe there's more to this than I thought. What do you mean? I pressed, desperate. He hesitated, then leaned closer. The coffee here, it's special. It's said to unlock things within a person. But it's not supposed to take memories away. Unlock what? And why me? I don't know, he admitted. But maybe we can figure it out together. I didn't trust him, not fully, but I was out of ideas. So I nodded, and that's where it really started. Me, Mr. Eldritch, and a mystery that was stealing me from myself. One forgotten moment at a time. The forgetting was getting worse. It wasn't just small things anymore, like where I left my keys or what I had for lunch. No, it was bigger, scarier stuff. Yesterday, I forgot my own address. I was standing outside my apartment building, staring at the door, and I couldn't remember which floor I lived on. I had to check my ID to figure it out. That's not normal. That's terrifying. I confided in my sister, Jamie, over the phone. She's always been the practical one, the one who can talk me down from my worst anxieties. Alex, you need to see a doctor, she said, her voice tight with worry. This sounds like early onset something. Alzheimer's, maybe. You're only 32, but it's possible. I don't think it's that, I replied, though a part of me was scared she might be right. It started with the coffee. Every time I drink it, the taste changes, and then I forget something. It's like the coffee is taking my memories. Jamie was silent for a moment. That's crazy, Alex. Coffee doesn't do that. Maybe you're allergic or something. Have you tried stopping? I did. I skipped it for a day, but the forgetting didn't stop. If anything, it got worse. Then maybe it's not the coffee. Maybe it's stress or something else. But you need to get checked out. Promise me you'll make an appointment. I promised, but I knew I wouldn't follow through. Not yet. There was something about this that felt different. Not medical. Not logical. It felt like a puzzle, and I was determined to solve it. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the journal I'd started keeping. The entries were getting more frantic, more desperate. Coffee tasted like licorice. Forgot Jamie's middle name, Rose, I think. Another. Coffee was salty. can't remember my high school prom date. I flipped through the pages, watching my own handwriting grow shakier, as if even my motor skills were slipping away. I needed answers. I couldn't just sit here and let myself disappear. So I turned to the internet. I started with the Daily Grind. A quick search pulled up its website. Bare bones, just the address, hours, and a picture of the shop's exterior. No history, no about us page. Weird for a place that looked like it had been around forever. I dug deeper, checking local business directories and review sites. Most reviews were positive but vague. Great atmosphere, best coffee in town, that sort of thing. Nothing unusual. Then, I stumbled on a forum thread from a few years back. The title was Weird Experience at the Daily Grind. My heart skipped a beat. I clicked. The original post was from someone named CoffeeLover89. Has anyone else noticed something off about the coffee there? Every time I drink it, it tastes different, and I feel like I'm forgetting things. Am I crazy? There were a few replies. One said, "You're probably just stressed. Coffee's coffee." Another was more cryptic. "Stay away from that place. It's not what it seems." But when I tried to click on the user's profile, it was deleted. The thread ended there, no resolution. I leaned back in my chair, the glow of the laptop screen casting shadows across the room. So I wasn't the only one. But what did it mean? Was there something wrong with the coffee? Or was it the shop itself? I needed to talk to Mr. Eldritch again. He was the key to this, I was sure of it. The next morning, I marched into the Daily Grind, the bell above the door jingling like a warning. Mr. Eldritch was there, as always, polishing a mug with a rag. He looked up, his eyes meeting mine with that same unreadable expression. "Alex," he said, nodding. "Back again?" "I need to know what's going on," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. I found a forum where someone else mentioned the coffee tasting different and forgetting things. "It's not just me. What are you doing to people?" He set the mug down slowly, his movements deliberate. "I'm not doing anything, Alex. The coffee is just coffee. But sometimes it reveals things." "Reveals what?" I demanded. "What's it revealing if it's taking my memories?" He sighed, leaning on the counter. "There's an old legend about this place. They say the coffee here doesn't just wake you up, it opens doors. Doors to parts of yourself you've forgotten, or maybe never knew. But opening those doors can be costly." "Costly how?" I pressed, my pulse quickening. "Sometimes, to gain something, you have to lose something else. Balance, you know? The universe doesn't give without taking." I stared at him, trying to process his words. "So, you're saying the coffee is making me forget things on purpose? To balance some cosmic scale?" He shrugged, a small, enigmatic smile playing on his lips. "I'm just a barista, Alex. I don't make the rules. I just brew the coffee." "That's not good enough," I snapped. "I'm losing pieces of myself. I can't even remember my sister's middle name anymore. What's next? My own name? My face in the mirror?" His smile faded, and for a moment, he looked almost sympathetic. "Maybe you're holding on too tight. Memories aren't everything. Sometimes, letting go is the only way to move forward." I wanted to shake him, to make him understand that this wasn't some philosophical exercise. This was my life unraveling. But before I could say anything else, the bell jingled again, and a customer walked in. Mr. Eldritch straightened up, his professional mask slipping back into place. "Think about it, Alex," he said softly. "Maybe there's something you need to let go of." I left the shop, more confused and frustrated than ever. That evening, I met Jamie for dinner. She'd insisted, probably to check on me, and I didn't have a heart to say no. We sat at a little Italian place, the kind with checkered tablecloths and candles flickering in wine bottles. Normally, I'd have ordered a glass of red, but tonight, I stuck to water. I didn't trust anything anymore. "You look terrible," Jamie said, blunt as ever. "Have you slept at all?" "Not really," I admitted, poking at my pasta. "It's hard to sleep when you're scared you'll wake up not knowing who you are." She reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "Alex, please. Go to a doctor. This isn't normal." "I know it's not." I said, but I don't think a doctor can help. There's something supernatural about this. I think the coffee is cursed or something. Jamie raised an eyebrow, her expression a mix of concern and skepticism. Cursed coffee? Come on, Alex. You sound like one of those conspiracy theorists. I'm serious, I insisted. Mr. Eldritch said something about the coffee opening doors, but at a cost. And I found a forum where someone else experienced the same thing. She sighed, leaning back in her chair. Okay, let's say I believe you. What are you going to do about it? You can't just keep drinking the coffee and hoping it stops. I don't know, I admitted. But I can't stop now. I need to understand what's happening. Maybe if I figure out what the coffee is trying to reveal, I can stop the forgetting. Jamie shook her head. Or maybe you're just making it worse. Promise me you'll at least try to stay away from that place for a few days. See if it helps. I nodded, though I wasn't sure I could keep that promise. The pull of the daily grind was strong, like an itch I couldn't scratch. Later that night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. Stop digging, Alex. Some doors are better left closed. My blood ran cold. Who was this? How did they know my name? And what did they mean by digging? I typed back, "Who is this?" But the message bounced back, undeliverable. The number was gone, like it had never existed. I sat up, heart pounding. Someone was watching me. Someone who didn't want me to uncover the truth.
But why?
What were they hiding? As I lay back down, the shadows in my room seemed to deepen, and for the first time, I wondered if I was in over my head. But I couldn't stop now. I had to know, even if it meant losing everything. The text message haunted me all night. Stop digging, Alex. Some doors are better left closed. It pierced my thoughts like a splinter, sharp and relentless.
Who sent it? Why?
I tossed and turned, the words looping in the darkness. By morning, I was bleary-eyed and wired, but more resolved than ever. If someone wanted me to stop, there was something worth finding. I decided to skip the daily grind today. Jamie had a point. Maybe staying away would slow the forgetting. More than that, I needed clarity. I brewed tea at home, the ritual a weak echo of my coffee routine, but it'd have to suffice. Sipping the tea, I grabbed my journal and opened a fresh page. I needed to chart this chaos, to spot the thread. I listed the days I'd drunk the coffee, its shifting tastes, the memories I'd lost. Then it hit me, cold and clear. The losses weren't random. They were precise, almost deliberate. My address, my sister's middle name, my prom date, pieces of my identity, my roots. It felt like the coffee was targeting what made me me. I froze, pen trembling over the page. Was that the game? Was it erasing me?
But why? How?
I needed more. I remembered that forum post from Coffee Lover 89. They described something similar, but the thread had died. Maybe I could find them, see what they'd uncovered. I fired up my laptop and returned to the forum. The thread lingered, but Coffee Lover 89's account was dormant. No dice. Frustration gnawed at me, until a detail caught my eye. They'd mentioned the daily grind on Elm Street. Elm Street? Mine was on Maple. Were there multiple locations? A search confirmed it. Another daily grind sat on Elm Street, an hour away. Maybe Coffee Lover 89 had been there. Maybe someone there knew something. It was a stretch, but it was a lead. I snatched my keys and hit the road. The drive was a battle. My mind kept slipping, and I had to claw at focus to recall the route. The forgetting was creeping in, coffee or not, like fog rolling over my brain. I gripped the wheel harder, forcing myself to stay present. The Elm Street daily grind mirrored mine. Same faded sign, same creaky door. Inside, though, it diverged. A young woman with a bright smile manned the counter, a stark contrast to Mr. Eldritch's grim aura. The air carried cinnamon and vanilla, not that deep, bitter earthiness I knew. "Welcome to the daily grind," she chirped. "What can I get you?" "Just a black coffee," I said, eyes sweeping the room. It buzzed with chatter and laptop clatter. No one seemed off or foggy. She slid the cup over, and I hesitated. Ever hear anyone say the coffee tastes different every time? She laughed, shaking her head. Not here. Our beans are steady. Why, something off with yours? No, it's good, I said, backpedaling. Just wondering. Actually, I'm looking for someone who might have come here years back. They went by Coffee Lover 89 online. Ring a bell? Her smile dimmed. Sorry, I've only been here a year. Maybe ask the manager? He's got more history. She nodded toward a man in the back, stacking boxes. I thanked her and approached. He was middle-aged, weariness etched in his eyes. Hey, I said, I'm tracking down someone who used to come here. They mentioned the coffee messing with their memory. His face hardened.
We don't talk about that.
Bad for business. My pulse spiked. So, it happened? People forgetting stuff after drinking here? He glanced around, then leaned closer. Look, I don't have details. A few years ago, we had a batch of beans that didn't sit right. We yanked it, and that was it. No issue since. What was wrong with them? I pressed. He shrugged.
Dunno.
Supplier said it was a mix-up, wrong blend. We dropped them after. Supplier's name? He paused, thinking. Eldritch Roasters, I think. Yeah, that's it. Eldritch. Like Mr. Eldritch. My gut twisted. Got their contact info? Nope. Cut ties and never looked back. I thanked him and bolted, mind spinning. A link. Mr. Eldritch wasn't just a barista. He tied to the source. But what did it mean? Was he the puppet or the puppeteer? In my car, I sat, piecing it together. If the coffee triggered the forgetting and Mr. Eldritch connected to the beans, maybe he held the key to stopping it. Or maybe he was driving it. But what was the end game? Why strip people's memories? I had to face him, but cautiously. If he was behind this, he wouldn't like me poking around. Driving home, the mental fog thickened. I missed my exit twice, and when I finally hit my driveway, the last 10 minutes were a blank. I'd been on autopilot, untethered for myself. I staggered inside, head throbbing. I needed rest to reset. But as I hit the couch, a new terror seized me. What if I slept and woke up a stranger? What if I lost it all? I fought to stay awake, to keep reasoning. I had to crack this. I had to stop it. Then my phone buzzed. Another text, unknown number. You're getting closer, Alex. But be careful. Some truths are dangerous. Heart pounding, I stared at it. Who was this? What did they know? I typed. Who are you? What's the truth?
Sent.
Undeliverable. Again. I hurled the phone across the room, rage boiling. I was a pawn in someone's game, jerked around by shadows. But I wouldn't quit. I couldn't. That night, I dreamed. I was in the daily grind, but it was warped, dim, the air heavy with burnt coffee. Mr. Eldritch loomed behind the counter, eyes glowing like coals. Welcome back, Alex, he said, voice reverberating oddly. Ready for your usual? I tried to speak, but my lips were sealed. He handed me a cup, and I drank helpless. It scalded, tasting of ash. The room tilted, and I plunged into a void of lost memories. Faces, my parents, Jamie, old friends, flickered and faded, dissolving into haze. I jolted awake, soaked in sweat. My heart hammered, and for a moment, I didn't know where I was. Then it clicked, my living room, my couch, my fraying life. The dream clung, a siren from my mind. I couldn't keep drifting. I had to confront Mr. Eldritch, demand the truth. Tomorrow, I vowed. Tomorrow, I'd storm the daily grind and end this, whatever it took. Lying back, that text gnawed at me. Some truths are dangerous. Maybe. But ignorance was a deeper peril. I had to know even if it unraveled me. The morning arrived like a reluctant visitor, gray and heavy. I woke with a start, the remnants of the dream still clinging to me like cobwebs. My heart was racing, and for a moment, I couldn't remember where I was. Then it came back, my living room, my couch, my unraveling life. I had to confront Mr. Eldritch today. I had to end this. I skipped my usual routine, avoiding even the thought of coffee. Instead, I splashed cold water on my face, trying to shock myself into clarity. It didn't work. My mind felt like a jigsaw puzzle with pieces missing, and the gaps were growing. As I drove to the daily grind, the fog in my head thickened. I missed turns, second-guessed street names, and at one point, I forgot why I was even going there. It was only when I saw the shop's faded sign that purpose snapped back into place. I parked crookedly and marched inside, the bell above the door jangling like a warning. Mr. Eldritch was there, as always, polishing a mug with a rag. He looked up, his eyes meeting mine with that same unreadable expression. "Alex," he said, nodding. "Back again?" "I need answers," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. "I know about the tainted beans from Eldritch Roasters. I know you're connected to them. What's going on? Why is this happening to me?" He set the mug down slowly, his movements deliberate. "You've been digging, I see. Perhaps too deep." "Too deep," I snapped. "I'm losing my mind, and you're talking in riddles. Tell me the truth." He sighed, leaning on the counter. "The truth is complicated, Alex. The coffee, it's not just coffee. It's a key, a way to unlock parts of yourself that you've buried or forgotten. But it comes at a cost." "What cost?" I demanded. "My memories? My identity?" He nodded slowly.
Yes.
To gain access to those hidden parts, you have to let go of others. It's a trade, a balance. "That's insane," I said, my voice trembling. "I didn't ask for this. I don't want to trade my memories for whatever this is." "But you did ask for it," he said softly. "Every time you came back, every time you drank the coffee, you were seeking something. Maybe you didn't know what, but you were looking for answers, for meaning. And now you're finding it." I stared at him, my mind reeling. What am I finding? All I'm finding is that I'm losing myself. He smiled, a sad, knowing smile. Sometimes, losing yourself is the only way to find yourself. I wanted to scream, to shake him until he made sense. But before I could, the bell jingled again, and a customer walked in. Mr. Eldritch straightened up, his professional mask slipping back into place. "Think about it, Alex," he said softly. "Maybe there's something you need to let go of." I left the shop, more confused and frustrated than ever. That evening, I met Jamie for dinner. She'd insisted, probably to check on me, and I didn't have the heart to say no. We sat at a little Italian place, the kind with checkered tablecloths and candles flickering in wine bottles. Normally, I'd have ordered a glass of red, but tonight, I stuck to water. I didn't trust anything anymore. "You look terrible," Jamie said, blunt as ever. "Have you slept at all?" "Not really," I admitted, poking at my pasta. "It's hard to sleep when you're scared you'll wake up not knowing who you are." She reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "Alex, please. Go to a doctor. This isn't normal." "I know it's not," I said, "but I don't think a doctor can help. There's something supernatural about this. I think the coffee is cursed or something." Jamie raised an eyebrow, her expression a mix of concern and skepticism. "Cursed coffee?"
Come on, Alex.
"You sound like one of those conspiracy theorists." "I'm serious," I insisted. Mr. Eldritch said something about the coffee opening doors, but at a cost. And I found a forum where someone else experienced the same thing. She sighed, leaning back in her chair. "Okay, let's say I believe you. What are you going to do about it? You can't just keep drinking the coffee and hoping it stops." "I don't know," I admitted, "but I can't stop now. I need to understand what's happening. Maybe if I figure out what the coffee is trying to reveal, I can stop the forgetting." Jamie shook her head. "Or maybe you're just making it worse. Promise me you'll at least try to stay away from that place for a few days. See if it helps." I nodded, though I wasn't sure I could keep that promise. The pull of the daily grind was strong, like an itch I couldn't scratch. Later that night, as I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "Stop digging, Alex. Some doors are better left closed." My blood ran cold. Who was this? How did they know my name? And what did they mean by digging? I typed back, "Who is this?" But the message bounced back, undeliverable. The number was gone, like it had never existed. I sat up, heart pounding. Someone was watching me, someone who didn't want me to uncover the truth.
But why?
What were they hiding? As I lay back down, the shadows in my room seemed to deepen, and for the first time, I wondered if I was in over my head. But I couldn't stop now. I had to know, even if it meant losing everything. The next morning, I decided to take Jamie's advice. I stayed away from the daily grind, opting for tea at home instead. But as the day wore on, the fog in my mind grew thicker. I forgot my boss's name during a meeting, and later, I couldn't remember how to tie my shoes. I had to look it up online, my hands shaking as I followed the steps. It was clear now, the forgetting wasn't stopping. If anything, it was accelerating. And the mysterious texts only added to my unease.
Who was sending them?
What did they know? I needed help, but I didn't know where to turn. Jamie was worried, but she didn't believe in the supernatural. My friends would think I was crazy. And Mr. Eldritch, he was part of the problem, not the solution. Then I remembered the forum post from Coffee Lover 89. Maybe they could help. Maybe they'd found a way to stop the forgetting. I logged back into the forum and sent a private message to Coffee Lover 89. Hey, I saw your post about the daily grind. I'm experiencing the same thing, memory loss after drinking the coffee. Did you ever find out what was causing it? How did you stop it? I hit send and waited, refreshing the page every few minutes. Hours passed with no response. Maybe they'd abandoned the account. Maybe they'd forgotten everything, just like I was. Just as I was about to give up, a notification popped up. Coffee Lover 89 had replied, "Meet me at the park on 5th and Main tomorrow at noon. I'll tell you everything." My heart leaped. Finally, a lead. But as I read the message again, a chill ran down my spine. How did they know I was in the same city? I hadn't mentioned my location in my message. I typed back, "How do you know where I am?" Their reply was instant. "We have mutual friends." Mutual friends? Who? Mr. Eldritch? The person sending the texts. I didn't know, but I had to find out. The next day, I arrived at the park early, my nerves on edge. The sky was overcast, and a cold wind rustled the leaves. I sat on a bench, scanning the area for anyone who looked like they might be Coffee Lover 89. At exactly noon, a figure approached. They were bundled in a coat, a hat pulled low over their face. As they got closer, I saw it was a woman, probably in her 40s, with sharp, wary eyes. "Are you Coffee Lover 89? I asked, standing up. She nodded. "And you're Alex." "How did you know my name?" I demanded. She glanced around, then sat down on the bench, motioning for me to join her. "I've been watching the forum. I saw your message, and I've been in contact with someone who knows you."
Who?
I pressed. She hesitated, then said, "Mr. Eldritch." My stomach dropped. "You know him? I used to work at the Daily Grind on Elm Street," she said. "I was there when the tainted beans came in. I drank the coffee just like you, and I started forgetting things. At first, it was small stuff, but then it got worse. I forgot my daughter's birthday, my wedding anniversary. I thought I was losing my mind." "What did you do?" I asked, leaning forward. "I confronted Mr. Eldritch," she said. "He told me the same thing he probably told you, about the coffee unlocking hidden parts of yourself, but at a cost." I didn't believe him at first, but then I started to notice something.
What?
I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The memories I was losing, they were all tied to pain, to trauma. My daughter's birthday was the day my husband left me. My wedding anniversary, well, you can guess. It was like the coffee was erasing the parts of me that were holding me back, the parts that were keeping me stuck in the past. I stared at her, my mind racing. "So, you think the coffee is helping you? By making you forget?" She nodded.
In a way, yes.
"It's painful, and it's scary, but it's also freeing. I feel lighter, like I can finally move forward." "But what about the good memories?" I asked. "I've forgotten things that weren't painful. My address, my sister's middle name." She shrugged. "Maybe those memories are tied to something deeper, something you're not aware of. Or maybe it's just the price you have to pay." I shook my head, trying to make sense of it all. "But I don't want to forget. I don't want to lose myself." She looked at me, her eyes softening. Maybe you're not losing yourself. Maybe you're finding yourself. I wanted to argue, to tell her she was wrong, but something in her words resonated. Maybe there was truth to it. Maybe the coffee was trying to show me something to help me let go of the past. But then I remembered the texts, the warnings. Someone's been sending me messages, telling me to stop digging. Do you know who it is? She frowned. No, I don't. But if I had to guess, it's probably Mr. Eldritch. He doesn't like people getting too close to the truth. What is the truth? I asked, my voice trembling. She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. The truth is that the Daily Grind isn't just a coffee shop. It's a place where people come to forget, to let go of their pasts and start anew. But not everyone is ready for that. Some people fight it, like you, and that's when things get dangerous. Dangerous how? I asked, my heart pounding. She glanced around again, then said, I've said too much. Just be careful, Alex. And remember, sometimes the only way out is through. With that, she stood up and walked away, leaving me alone on the bench, more confused than ever. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind a whirlwind of thoughts. Was Coffee Lover 89 right? Was the coffee trying to help me by making me forget? Or was it something more sinister, something that wanted to erase me completely? I didn't know, but I knew one thing. I had to make a choice. I could keep fighting, keep trying to hold on to my memories, or I could let go and see where the coffee took me. As I drifted off to sleep, the last thing I remembered was the taste of the coffee, bitter and sweet, like life itself. I woke up the next morning with a sense of dread coiled in my stomach. The meeting with Coffee Lover 89 had left me more unsettled than ever. Her words echoed in my mind. Sometimes the only way out is through. But through what? Through forgetting everything? Through losing myself completely? I couldn't accept that. I had to find another way. I decided to confront Mr. Eldritch one last time. If he was behind this, if he knew how to stop it, I had to make him tell me. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, watching my life slip away sip by sip. I drove to the Daily Grind, my hands trembling on the wheel. The shop looked the same as always, but today it felt different. Ominous, like it was waiting for me. I pushed open the door, the bell jingling above me. Mr. Eldritch was behind the counter, as always, but today there was something different about him. His eyes were darker, his smile tighter. Alex, he said, his voice low. I was wondering when you'd come back. I need to know the truth, I said, my voice steady despite the fear gnawing at me. What is the coffee really doing to me? And how do I stop it? He sighed, setting down the rag he'd been using to wipe the counter. You can't stop it, Alex. Once the process starts, it has to run its course. What process? I demanded. What is it doing to me? He leaned forward, his eyes locking onto mine. The coffee is stripping away the layers of your past, the memories that are holding you back. It's giving you a chance to start over, to be free. Free from what? I asked, my voice rising. From my life? From who I am? From the pain, he said softly. From the regrets, the mistakes, the things you can't change. It's a gift, Alex. A chance to live in the present, without the weight of the past dragging you down. I shook my head, backing away from the counter. I don't want that. I don't want to forget everything. I want my memories back. He smiled, a sad, knowing smile. But you can't have them back, Alex. They're gone. And soon you'll be gone too. What do you mean? I asked, my heart pounding. He stepped out from behind the counter, moving closer to me. The final stage of the process is complete erasure. You'll forget everything. Who you are, where you came from, what you've done. You'll be a blank slate, ready to start anew. No, I whispered, my voice trembling. I don't want that. I don't want to disappear. But you do, he said, his voice almost gentle. Deep down, you do. That's why you kept coming back. Why you kept drinking the coffee. You wanted to forget. I stared at him, my mind reeling. Was he right? Had I been seeking this all along, without even knowing it? I thought about my life, about the mistakes I'd made, the people I'd hurt, the dreams I'd let die. Maybe he was right. Maybe I did want to forget. But then I thought about Jamie, about my friends, about the good times, the moments of joy and love. I couldn't let those go. I couldn't let myself disappear. I don't want this, I said, my voice firm. I want to stop it. Tell me how to stop it.
He shook his head.
There is no stopping it, Alex. But there is a way to control it. What do you mean? I asked, hope flickering in my chest. You can choose what to forget, he said. You can decide which memories to let go of and which to keep. But it requires sacrifice. You have to give up something significant, something that defines you. Like what? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He smiled, a cold, calculating smile. That's for you to decide. But choose wisely, Alex. Because once it's gone forever. I stood there, frozen, as he turned and walked back behind the counter. Think about it, he said, his voice casual, as if we were discussing the weather. But don't take too long. The process is accelerating. You don't have much time left. I stumbled out of the shop, my mind spinning. Choose what to forget. Sacrifice something significant? What did that even mean? I needed to think, to figure this out before it was too late. I spent the rest of the day wandering the city, trying to make sense of it all. I walked through parks, past buildings, down streets I'd known all my life, but everything felt distant, like I was seeing it through a fog. As the sun began to set, I found myself at the river, watching the water flow by. I sat on a bench, pulling out my journal. I flipped through the pages, reading the entries I'd written, the memories I'd already lost. And then it hit me. The journal. It was my lifeline, my connection to the past. Maybe it could help me choose what to keep. I started writing, listing the memories that mattered most to me, the ones I couldn't bear to lose. My sister's laugh, my parents' faces, the day I graduated college, the first time I fell in love. But as I wrote, I realized that even these memories were tied to pain, to loss, to regret. My parents were gone. My first love had ended in heartbreak. My college years were filled with missed opportunities. Maybe Mr. Eldritch was right. Maybe I was better off without them. But then I thought about Jamie, about how much she meant to me, about how she'd always been there for me. I couldn't forget her. I couldn't let her go. I closed the journal, my decision made. I would sacrifice something else, something that didn't matter as much. But what? What could I give up that defined me, but that I could live without? I thought about my job, my career. It had never brought me joy, only stress and frustration. Maybe I could forget that, start over in a new field. Or maybe my apartment, my possessions. I could let go of the material things, the clutter that filled my life. But deep down, I knew that wasn't enough. Mr. Eldritch had said it had to be something significant, something that defined me. And then it came to me. My name. My identity.
Who I was.
If I forgot my name, forgot who I was, I could start over completely. I could be anyone, do anything. I could be free. But was that what I wanted? To be a blank slate, with no past, no history, no connection to the world? I didn't know, but I knew I had to choose, and soon. That night, I returned to the daily grind. The shop was closed, but the door was unlocked. I pushed it open, the bell jingling softly. Mr. Eldritch was waiting for me, a cup of coffee in his hand. Have you made your choice? He asked, his voice echoing in the empty shop. I nodded, my heart pounding. I have. He handed me the cup, and I took it, the warmth seeping into my hands. Drink, he said, and let go. I raised the cup to my lips, the aroma filling my senses. It smelled different this time. Rich, deep, with a hint of something I couldn't place. I took a sip, and the world shifted. Memories flooded my mind, a torrent of images and emotions. My childhood, my teenage years, my adulthood. All of it came rushing back, vivid and clear. And then, just as quickly, they began to fade, slipping away like sand through my fingers. I tried to hold on, to grasp at the memories, but they were gone, leaving only emptiness in their wake. I looked up at Mr. Eldritch, my vision blurring. What's happening? I asked, my voice weak. You're letting go, he said, his voice distant. You're becoming who you were meant to be. I felt myself slipping, my sense of self dissolving. I tried to remember my name, my sister's face, anything, but it was all gone. And then, just as I was about to disappear completely, I heard a voice, faint but clear. Alex, don't forget. Don't forget who you are. It was Jamie's voice, echoing in my mind. And with it came a memory, a single moment, Jamie and me, sitting on the porch, watching the sunset, laughing about something silly. I clung to that memory, holding it tight, refusing to let it go. And slowly, painfully, the other memories began to return, piece by piece, like a puzzle reassembling itself. I opened my eyes, gasping for breath. I was still in the shop, the cup of coffee in my hand, now cold. Mr. Eldritch was watching me, his expression unreadable. You chose not to forget, he said, his voice tinged with surprise. I chose to remember, I said, my voice steady. I chose to hold on to who I am, even if it's painful, even if it's hard, because that's what makes me human. He nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. Perhaps you're stronger than I thought. I set the cup down, my hands shaking. Is it over? I asked. Will the forgetting stop? He shrugged. That's up to you. The coffee will always be here, waiting. But now you know the choice is yours. I turned and walked out of the shop, the bell jingling behind me. As I stepped into the night, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. I had faced the darkness, and I had chosen to remember. And that, I realized, was the true gift.